Homeschooling Through the Chaos. I'm Michelle and I am a homeschooling mama of 3 with 1 on the way. So today I just wanted to share our homeschooling curriculum picks for the 2024-2025 homeschool year. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So this will be our 3rd year homeschooling, and if there's anything that I've learned so far throughout the short amount of time that we've been doing this is to be as flexible as you can throughout your whole homeschooling journey. So as the saying goes, we make our plans and God decides the steps we take. In the first year of homeschooling, I was so excited to just go ahead and jump in and try all the things. And then 2 months in, I received an offer for a full-time teaching position. It was working from home, but it was still full-time, so that limited what I was able to do in terms of how I homeschooled. So we had to make some changes around that. And then this year, my schedule completely changed, making it even harder for me to be as hands-on. And I also got pregnant and it was a really rough first trimester. So when I say we had to do the bare minimum this year, that's not far from the truth. Like, it was the bare minimum. And this upcoming school year, things are going to be a little bit different too. But that's the beauty of homeschooling, is that you get to make these changes and just roll with the punches and just enjoy every season that you are in. So as hard as it is to be able to go through these adjustments, I honestly wouldn't change it for anything else. And we have still been enjoying every single second of homeschooling. So let's go ahead and share what we're going to be doing this season, this homeschool season. Let's go ahead and start off with my little guy. So Aiden will be going into 3rd grade this year, and we've been using the Good and the Beautiful with him since the very beginning. So we have done their level 1 and level 2 of language arts and math, and he's going to go ahead and continue with the Good and the Beautiful. So we are going to be using their language arts level 3, and with the Good and the Beautiful starting at level 4, that's when they're able to work on these independently. They'll have a little video that they watch to start the lesson, and then they'll have independent practice. With level 3, you are still working with your kiddos, so you're working through the lesson with them, and then they'll have a page or 2 of independent practice. So he's going to be working through this. And one thing that's different, if you used the Good and the Beautiful before, one thing that was different between their level 1, 2, and now the level 3 is that this one did not come with booster cards. The other 2 did bring booster cards. So he's a little bit advanced, so we would get through the booster cards super quickly, like really fast. So this time, this one brings a separate spelling practice book. So this I'm pretty excited about because I feel like it'll also help him work on his penmanship. And this is one that I'm super excited about. Don't know if you can see it there. Is that it also introduces sign language. There we go. It also introduces sign language. So we are both really excited to do that part. And then the last thing that it came with was their independent book. So he has 4 of these. And these are also meant to be done with the parents. So it will have a section that's for the parents to read, and then a page or 2 for your kiddo to read. So as I said, he's pretty advanced and he's a really good reader, so he could probably do this independently. But we did this before last year and he really liked that we were able to do it together. It's kind of like a bonding thing for us, so pretty excited to do the same this year and do it with him. So that's what he's going to be doing for ELA. And then for math, he is doing math 3. So we tend to finish math a lot quicker than our ELA workbooks just because I like to throw in different types of unit studies. And when we do that, we kind of put our ELA independent book on hold, and then we get back to it when we get back to it. So with that being said, he's already started his math 3. He's on level lesson 40 already. So he's just going to continue to work through this. And once he's done with this one, we're going to go straight into level 4. And then the last thing that he has is his handwriting book. So we've done level 1 and we didn't do their level 2 because he was using another little workbook that I found from the Dollar Tree. So he used that instead this year, but I decided to go ahead and get him started on level 3 this year. I was a little bit worried just because level 3 is when they jump into cursive, and his handwriting does need a little bit of work, so I was a little nervous getting him started on this, but it does start them off with print. So I feel like he'll be able to get that practice before jumping into cursive. So we'll see how he does with it. And yeah, that's what he has going on for his independent work. So for my older two, so Isaac will be going into 6th grade this year, and Michaela, my oldest, will be going into 7th. So with them, they also started off with The Good and the Beautiful, our first year of homeschooling. And then last year, I did change things up with them. So as I said earlier, my work schedule changed drastically this year. So I needed something for them that wasn't as time consuming. They can work independently, because even though level 4 from The Good and the Beautiful is meant for them to work independently, for my kiddos, it was a little bit hard for them. So I was still very hands-on with them. I was still working through the lessons with them, and it did take us a little bit longer to get through it. So I wanted something that they can do completely on their own. And I heard a lot of good things about Masterbooks, so I switched them over to that. Now, I didn't necessarily hate Masterbooks. I thought their math was really, really good. I didn't see too much of an issue with math. My son did really good with it. My daughter also learned a lot with it. However, I feel like their ELA was missing something. Like, I feel like you really did need to supplement with their language arts. My kids were done with each lesson within 5 minutes. It was a page or 2, and then that's it. So this year, I am switching both of them back to The Good and the Beautiful. I really like their curriculum, and I thought that they, other than it taking them a while to get through, there's a reason they took them a while to get through, and it's because there's so much in here, and I feel like we just need to go back to The Good and the Beautiful. So we're gonna do that. So this year they are going to be working on language arts level 6. So my daughter, even though she's going to be going into 7th grade, she will be doing level 6 with her brother. So they're both going to be doing the same course. So she has dyslexia and ADHD. So she's a little bit behind, and this is pretty advanced no matter what. So I feel like having her go to level 6 is a better fit for her. So both of them are going to be working through the level 6. And as I said earlier, with the higher levels, they start each lesson with a video for them to go over the material, and then they have their independent practice. So I really like that. And to go along with that, they have these 2 readers for their independent reading to go along with it. So they're also going to be doing The Good and the Beautiful's Math 6. So Isaac, he finished all of his level 6 master book. So he's gonna, no, sorry, his level 5. He did level 5 for master books this year, and he's just gonna move on to math 6 from the good and the beautiful. So my daughter Kayla, she was working on master books level 6, and here's the thing with it. So hers did have a lot more questions than the level 5. So there was that. And with her ADHD, she did get distracted a lot, and it would take her a lot longer to get through the lessons. So right now she is on lesson 71. So she's about like halfway through it. The thing with master books, it's based more on mastery as opposed to the good and the beautiful, which is more of a spiral. So with this one, they stick with one topic and you continue with that for the whole entire thing until you've mastered it, and then they start the next thing. So like, for example, she is working on fractions right now, and she's been on that for a few lessons, which I don't see an issue with doing mastery over spiral. However, because she has not finished the book, there's things in here that she did not get to cover, and our state, they are required to do state testing at the end of the year. So when she did her testing, there was a lot of questions on there that she wasn't able to answer because she never got to it. She was never introduced to it. So with that being said, I decided to go ahead and stop this. So she's not done with it, but I decided to go ahead and stop her on that. We paused it, and she has been moving into the good and the beautiful's math 6. So like I said, this one is spiral. They're basically doing something new every day, and then in the review, it goes through all of the things they've learned so far, so it kind of circles back to it. So some of the things that she's going to see here in the beginning are going to be kind of like a review for her because she's done it in the master books, but it's also going to introduce new things to her. So I feel like this will be a better fit than the master book. So I stopped it, and she's already started math 6 on here. And I also like that this has videos, and she is more of a visual learner. So I definitely, I just like this more for her. So we switched her over. And again, beauty of homeschooling. So you see something that's not really the best fit, you don't have to continue with it. You can stop if you feel like that's the step you need to take, and you can start something else. So there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to wait till the end of the school year to start something new. Done that before, and we might have to do that a few more times down the line. And as I said, flexibility. That's the number one thing that I've learned so far. So that's what my kids are going to be doing for their core, for ELA and for math. All three, we're sticking with the good and the beautiful. So for history and science, I really like to do those family style. So my kids do participate in co-ops. So last year and this year, they took 3 classes, and with my work schedule, again, we had to go down to the bare minimum. So co-op really helped to fill in those gaps. So they were only doing their math and their reading at home, and then they were doing their history and science through co-op. This new school year coming up, I'm gonna be home full time. So I'm not going to be working this year, and we are going to go back to the Good and the Beautiful's History Year 1. So I bought this our first year of homeschooling, and we got through the first unit, and then that's when I had to go into work. So we had to put this on pause, and they went and did co-op instead. So I'm really excited to pick this back up and jump back into it. So we are going to just start right where we left off, and we're going to be starting Unit 2, the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. So I'm super excited about that. I actually liked teaching history, so super excited to be able to do it with my kids again. And I went ahead and ordered The Inquisitor's Tale to go along with our Middle Ages unit. So if you've read this before, because this was recommended to me, it's not part of the curriculum, but it was recommended. So if you've read this before, let me know in the comments what you thought about it and what age your kiddos were and if they enjoyed it too. So another thing that we're going to be using that's going to count as our Bible/history is To Every Nation, a study of 12 missionaries and their great God. So this was another one that was recommended to me, and I wanted to do this since our first year, but again, we had to cut back on a lot of the things. So I'm excited to be able to include this in our studies. So it starts off with short little biography on the missionaries, and then they have different worksheets for them to work on throughout the week and a copy work section for them. So since I'm doing this family style with all 3 kids, I went ahead and I got a mix of their chapter books for the missionaries and their picture books. That way my 8-year-old can feel more involved, and I felt like the chapter books might go a bit over his head, so I felt like bringing in the picture books would be a happy medium to have a mixture of both of those. So I'm super excited. Again, if you've done this study before, let me know how it went. All right, so for science, we've used the Good and the Beautiful's study units before. We've done their space unit and their botany unit. So we are most likely going to be doing another one of their units. I have not decided what we're doing yet, just because we're gonna start with history the first quarter and then switch over to science. So I feel like I still have some time until I have to zero in on exactly which study we're gonna do. But in the meantime, we're also going to be reading some of the chapters here on It Couldn't Just Happen as part of, again, our Bible study, but also science. So I'm really excited about this one. My husband has already started reading a few chapters with them, and he's super into it, and so I just thought this was really fun for us to be able to incorporate into our homeschooling. And last but not least, the other thing that we are going to be bringing into our homeschool this year, which we are all excited about, is financial literacy. So me and my husband have been working on our own budgeting, and we have been purchasing so many books for ourselves on how to save money, how to invest, and all of those things. And we realized we were never really taught this in school, and we are struggling to figure out how it all works. So we decided we don't want that same outcome for our kids, so we're bringing in financial literacy this year. That was actually my husband's idea for us to incorporate it, so he's going to kind of be taking over this section of their homeschooling, and I'll most likely pop in here and there to do with them as well, let's be honest. But we are going to be using all about money, business, and economics from the Thinking Tree Do-It-Yourself Homeschooling Curriculum. So this is going to be used as our spine. So for this one, they do have a recommended text to go with it. So they recommend Whatever Happened to Penny Candy. So that's the book that they recommend you use for this study. However, after looking at the reviews, I feel like that book might be a little advanced for my littlest. So instead, we're going to be using a few other texts to go with it. We're going to be using this as our main spine. They're going to be doing the worksheet activities. There's projects in here. So they're going to be doing all of the activities. We're just going to be using a different book to find our answers. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the ones that I've picked up. We're going to be using Usborne Money for Beginners, the Twiddle Twins, Creature from Jekyll Island. Super excited. I've been wanting to do the Twiddle Twins for so long. So this one, I don't know, I'm just so stoked for that one. The No Nonsense Guide to Money. This one's pretty cute, so really excited for us to go through this one. The Story of Money. So this is written as a picture book. It is a little text heavy, so I feel like it'll probably take us a few days to get through. But I love that they're able to learn so much in a simpler way. And then the last one that we're going to be using is the Money Tree. So those are our picks for our financial literacy to help us with our workbook. So as I shared earlier, the main thing that I've learned so far throughout our little homeschooling journey is to be as flexible as you can and to adjust when you need to according to the season that you are in. So this homeschooling season for us is going to be looking a little bit different than the other two. And one of those big changes is that we will be homeschooling year round this time. So my kids won't be taking a summer break. They did have this week off. So I did decide, let's close the books and take a little break because we're going to be continuing throughout the summer. So this week they got to play outside. We did a lot of activities together. I didn't have to do any of their schoolwork. But Monday we are jumping right back into our books. So we aren't going to be doing everything that we would do during our regular school year. So we're kind of going to be doing a summer school type of thing. So what they will be working on is math. So we're not going to be stopping our math. They're going to continue to work on that, but we won't be doing our ELA. We're not going to be doing that. Instead, we are going to start our financial literacy unit. So as you saw when I was flipping through some of these pages, there is a lot of writing involved in this one. So I feel like there's plenty of things for them to work on writing wise, literacy wise, that I'm okay with us pausing our core curriculum and working through this instead. And depending on how it goes, I think we might start our history too. So the reason why we are going to be homeschooling through the summer this year is because this little guy is due in October, and I know that that's going to definitely change how we homeschool. So the plan is we're gonna keep on going through the summer, and then in October, whenever baby gets here, we're gonna go ahead and take a month or two off for us to be able to just adjust to our new rhythm. So being able to homeschool through the summer will allow us that flexibility, and that way we won't be behind. And I say behind because kids are learning no matter what, whether they're sitting down in their workbooks and doing formal education, or if they're outside, like they are learning no matter what. But that's what we've decided to do. We are going to be doing our math, our financial literacy, maybe our history. We'll see how that goes. So let me know in the chat box how you plan to homeschool this year. Is this your first year? If not, how many years have you been homeschooling? If you'd like me to do a more thorough flip through of any of our curriculum choices, let me know below, and I'll be glad to do a video on those. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Until next time.